Alright guys, this is Jens coming at you with another tutorial. This time we're going to be going over how exactly you can use the artillery calculator that I have put together for Arma 3. So we're just going to start from the bare bones. So here, just as our example piece today, we've got the M119A2 105mm howitzer. And we are going to be attempting to smack a house a little over a click away. Normally you would be given probably a 10-digit grid reference or something of that matter, something along those lines from your Fort Observer, whoever that might be, depending on context or situation. However, since we're doing this in the editor, I'm just going to get my own 10-digit. So let's see. This factory building looks pretty interesting, so we're just going to go ahead and laser with our micro dagger. And it's going to give us a 10-digit grid. We can see that 10-digit grid right here. TA is a prefix that means absolutely nothing, don't worry about it. These are the ones we care about. We're also going to care about these values up here because they tell us where we're at. And we're going to care about this value right here because it tells us the height of the target. So let's just go ahead and move over to the calculator now. Oh, that ain't right. Alright, there we go. Okay, so first things first, we have to put the position of our gun into the calculator. So you might be asking, okay, well, what's my gun position? Well, you can see up here in this part, we've got the battery management inputs over here, and we can have up to 4 guns in each battery, and we can put in a 10-digit grid location for each of them as well as their altitude. So if we go back to the micro dagger, we can see that the 10-digit grid for our gun is going to be this up here. So this is the first 5, these are the last 5. We do not include the letters. So we can see that our gun is at 00461, 00306, and it is at an altitude of 101 meters above sea level, right? So let's go back over here and we'll set up our battery. We've only got one gun on the battery right now, so it's pretty simple. We had 00461, 00306 at an altitude of 101 meters above sea level. Right now I just have 00000 plugged in as our target grid. We'll go ahead and plug in our actual target grid, which, since we have lased this target for direct fire, is going to be this number down here. Typically you will have this information fed to you by a forward observer because you're going to be shooting way past what you would typically be able to see by yourself, because there'll be trees or some sort of terrain feature in the way. You need someone out there to watch those rounds for you, right? So our target grid is going to be 01351, 01926, and our target elevation is going to be 12 meters above sea level. So let's go over here, and where it says target grid, this cell right here, we're going to punch that number. We're going to punch in 01351, 01926, and the target height of 12 meters above sea level. And we could do this as a charge 0 shot. Now note that the calculator will not pick a charge value for you. You have to pick your own charge. That's up to your own discretion. We can see here on these graphs that we've got a plot of the high angle trajectory and a plot of the low angle trajectory. You can kind of see the difference here. This one goes a hell of a lot higher before hitting the target. This one goes comparatively quite flat before hitting the target. And as we crank up our charge values, we can see that the high angle shot gains even more altitude and the low angle shot becomes even flatter. So you can see that whenever there's terrain in the way, say, a hill or a large tree line with like big pines or something, that you may want to be a little discretionary on which charge and which firing solution, whether that's high angle or low angle, that you use. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick charge 0 because we want that round to just kind of plunge in. It's going into a city, so we obviously don't want to hit anything in front of our intended target. We want to hit the target itself, so we want that round coming in a little vertically. But we also don't want to deal with the time of flight of 29 seconds for a high angle shot. 12.91 seconds is much more appealing. So we're going to go ahead and use the low angle solution, which is what's in these green boxes right here. We have an elevation of 382 mils, and to add or drop 50 meters on our shot along the gun to target line, that is the line that you can draw on the map from you at the gun to your target, it's going to be 17 mils. So we would bump it up 17 mils to, what is that, 399 to go 50 meters further, or we could drop it 17 mils down to 365 to pull it 50 meters short. Additionally, we have a left-right adjustment along the gun to target line here. That means 27 mils left on the azimuth, so our azimuth here automatically computes when we're in grid mode. It is 512. So we could go left 27 mils to, what would that be? 512 minus 27. 12 minus 27 is 15. So then 15 off of 500 becomes 485. So yeah, 485 or, 539. That would be 50 meters left to right. Additionally, we have some other data here. We have our elevation in degrees if your gun supports that. Typically, I try not to use these values because the elevation in degrees is broken on very many guns in Arma. So try to stick to these values in mils when you can. Additionally, we have a maximum ordinate, which is the maximum height above sea level that the round will hit, or reach, rather. We have our time of flight, and we have our AOI, which is our angle of impact relative to the horizon. We can see here that this is negative 464 mils, which is a steeper angle that it's hitting the target than the angle it leaves the gun at, which is 382. That's because, as we can see from this graph here, we are going up and then hitting something that is actually lower than us. So, just to prove that it works, let's go ahead and use these two numbers, 512 and 382, to hit that building. Alright, so back to the game. Go ahead and hop on our gun. We can press 0 to get into the gunner's sight. And we can swing our azimuth around to 512. 512. And our elevation has to be 382. 382. And let's just crank our view distance a little bit further. We'll call that 5 kilometers and 5 kilometers there. Close that out. Alright, we'll just double check. We are on charge 0, azimuth 0512, elevation 0382, and we will now fire. I can sit here and watch. Remember, we're trying to hit that building with the smokestack right in front of us, down there in the city. And bam! Look at that. Not too bad, right? Alright, so let's say that's all well and good, but you wanted to shift the round, say, 200 meters west. Well, that's kind of difficult, right? Because we want to move the rounds west, but our gun to target line is going northeast. So we can't, so changing the elevation is going to shift our round further northeast or bring it back southwest. Moving the gun left to right is going to push the rounds either northwest or southeast. So you can use another feature of the calculator. If we come over here, you can use another feature of the calculator, which are these adjust bits down here. So We want the rounds to go west. Let's say our forward observer tells us they want the rounds to go west. Well, what's compass heading is west going to be in mils. Well, we can come down here. If you're not familiar with milliradians, I got this quick little guide for you. And we can see that 4800 is the heading for west. So we can go here to direction of shift, punch in 4800. The magnitude of the shift is going to be 200 meters. And vertical inclination here just refers to either whether the point that you're shifting to is higher or lower than the point you were just shooting at. In our case, we're just going to assume a level field. It's going to more or less pan out the same. So we'll just leave that as 0, and we can see that we have a new azimuth of 410 and a new elevation of 353, as opposed to our old azimuth of 512 and our old elevation of 382. So we can take these values, still on chart 0, mind you, and we can go back to the game, and we can go ahead and drag it over to 410 and 353, and we can fire another shot. We can hop off and watch the round as it sails in somewhere. And bam, there it is. It's gone west of the target. Congratulations. So that's how you can do adjustments that way. Another way you could potentially do them is if you have an observer that is somewhere else other than your current location, right? And they have a different perspective on the target. They won't be seeing it from, 511 or 512 like you are. They'll be seeing the target from, say, 6,000 or 6,100, something like that, because they're going to be off axis from the line of your gun 9 times out of 10. So something else you can do is you can see the calculator below that is in terms of observer to target. So what does observer to target mean? Observer to target means that the observer gives you his azimuth to the target, his heading to the target in mils, and he will tell you relative to his view on the target to add or drop however many meters from his position, go left or right however many meters relative to his position, and go up or down however many meters relative to his position. And it'll give you a new azimuth and a new elevation, both low and high angle. And that's really all there is to it. Additionally, we have these over here, which will, based on your uh, input fire mission right here, give you a series of 5 shots to fire. That will be 50 meters spread, basically deleting a grid square, one in the middle, one in the top left corner of the box, one in the top or bottom left corner of the box, top right corner of the box, bottom right corner of the box, so on and so forth. Same thing for the high angles down here. It's basically just a quick and easy way to kill a bunch of infantry in the open pretty fast. So if they ever ask you for saturation fire on a target, there's your ticket. Additionally, we also have a target obstruction calculator for low angle shots. So let's say that we were wanting to do that shot on that building right there, and we were worried about an obstruction. Like, let's look at this, these trees right in front of it. Those are pretty tall trees. If we compare them to these trees here, they're probably about, oh, I don't know, 10 meters tall, 12 meters tall. We'll call them 15 just for funsies. So we can come over here to the calculator, and let's say that there's a tree or a wall or something in front of the target that is going to be blocking it. So first question, is the hill going to block the gun or the target? It's going to block the target in our case. We can also hit this little drop down and switch to gun if we prefer. So how far away from the gun or target, depending on what you have selected, is the hill in meters? Let's say the tree is 20 meters away. And then how tall is the hill relative to the gun / target in meters? Let's say it is a 15 meter tall tree. And we can see that we're going to hit the hill, and in rather spectacular fashion. Well, what if it were a 5 meter tall tree? Well, then we could go for it. Well, for a 10 meter tall tree, we're going to hit it. So our magic number is somewhere around, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 10 meters is the magic number, wouldn't you know it? You can also see that if we go to a higher charge value, suddenly that same obstruction that we were going over with charge 0, we are now going to hit on charge 2 because our trajectory is just that much flatter. That's something you have to keep in mind. You will almost never have to worry about obstructions when firing high angle shots though, because as you can see, vertical is going to be negative 1600 mils in terms of angle of impact. Negative 1539 is pretty damn close to vertical. So, with that out of the way, now we can switch the calculator to the other mode, which is polar. So with a polar fire mission, you'll notice we have a different series of inputs. You might also notice that the values in our boxes over here and stuff have changed. Whenever you switch between grid and polar, it does not save the data from the other fire mission. They are separate calculators, both overlaid onto the same equations. Whichever you have selected is the one that these are going to display. So if you save one mission on the polar calculator, then you move over to do a grid fire mission. If you swap back to polar, the old polar fire mission is still going to be saved there. It's not going to translate the new grid one over. So let's say we get a polar fire mission. Typically you're going to use polar fire missions in the case of them having something marked on the map for you to hit. For instance, like say you don't have an observer that has their micro dagger, but they're pretty good at land nav and they can figure out on the map, okay, this is the thing that needs to die. And let's just say for the sake of argument that the thing that needs to die is this little funny courtyard here. Better yet, actually, for visibility's sake, let's make it this bus stop down here at the beach. Well, wait. Oh no, I've transported myself. Okay, back up here. Where the hell did I put my gun? I've ruined this whole video. Oh no. Okay. No, it's around here somewhere. There it is. Okay. So back to our regularly scheduled programming. We can see that we've got TRP-01 right here that our quote-unquote Fort Observer has given us, right? So we can go ahead and hit home, and on the micro dagger, we can go ahead and zoom out on the map, go over to TRP-01, and double-click on it to set a waypoint. It'll give you a list of all your waypoints. You click Set WP, and then it'll pull you to the compass. You ignore this compass, you click this bottom left-hand tab, and then you'll get a series of numbers. Let's go ahead and get actually next to the gun before we shoot this. And we can see that we've got this here, which is our heading to the target. The range is our horizontal distance to the target as if it were on a level plane. And the elevation of the target is just its height, right? So we can take these as our inputs. So first we got 601 as our azimuth to target. So we'll go over here, and AZ to target is going to be 601. Now the gun height. Our gun height, you will recall, is still 101. So we come over here, gun height 101. Next, the range to target. Range to target is going to be 1377 meters. Well, 1.377 kilometers, but I'm sure y'all can all do basic unit conversion, especially in metric. So that's going to be 1377 meters, and the target height is going to be 6 meters. So I'll come over to target height, and we'll just hit 6. And we'll do this one on charge 0 as well. And we're still using an M119A2. Notice that when you hit the drop down here, it has a whole list of guns you can pick from. Please pick the one you're actually using. Otherwise, you may not like the results you get. Also, in case you didn't notice, in the battery setup, you can also individually set the type for each gun. So you could have a really whack-ass battery going on where you've got paramortars, say American howitzer 155, and then you've got a Russian self-propelled gun for some reason. It's all possible. You can manage all of these things at the same time. You just have to be cognizant of which gun is which. Now we'll go back to our polar fire mission, regularly scheduled programming and all that. We can see that our azimuth to target, we already know that. It doesn't have to compute it because that's one of our inputs. So our azimuth is going to be 601. Our charge is going to be 0 because that's where we set it. And then our low angle elevation is going to be 232. So going back to the game, let's try and first locate that bus stop. And I'm pretty sure it's down along that pier somewhere. There he is. That's him. Right there, that little bus stop. Alright. So, I'm going to hop on the gun. Zoom her in. Go to azimuth 601. 601. And we're going to drop our elevation down to 2, 3, 2. And we will send a single round. And we will watch with bated breath. Dang, look at that. Pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. And that's really all there is to it. If you have any questions, good luck, I guess. Everything is laid out in the calculator beyond just what I've gone over today in a fairly simple manner. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. That's how artillery works. See ya.